Great, and I'm live. So it occurred to me that I've been doing tens of videos, and people must wonder why it is that I do so many of these videos. Well, the answer is very simple. I have three important reasons why I'm compelled to put out these and record these videos. And they are about stereotypes, creating a new normal, and inspiring other people to speak up. What the pandemic and the way it was treated did was that it shone a bright light on who we were as individuals and as groups. And it showed those of us who had a voice and those of us who didn't have a voice. And it was really during the pandemic that it occurred to me that we have certain pervading stereotypes of the value of different voices. I could see very clearly right from the get-go that white voices meant a lot more than other voices. The numbers of people who were apparently dying from COVID across different ethnicities, the kind of spokespeople who came up across different ethnicities, and it was absolutely clear that something was very wrong about looking like me and having my voice heard here in the United Kingdom. Three things came up. First of all, it was clear that minority ethnics, particularly people of African origin, were supposed to be seen perhaps, but not heard. Secondly, that people of African origin are supposed to be opinion takers, not opinion formers. And thirdly, and perhaps most crucially important of all, is the fact that we were supposed to be followers, not leaders. And here's the thing. I've had privileges in different parts of the world, and some quite considerable. And what I can tell you about having social privileges is that it can make you very weak, entitled, and really not up for the fight when it's required. I had a friend who came in every way from the same kind of demographic as myself in Ghana. And he had the uncomfortable and horrific experience of losing his mum in his mid-teens. Now, he changed completely. Whereas the rest of us were constantly demanding more and more from mum and dad, and kind of thinking, "Oh, well, this is my right and I need this and I want that and I'd like to have more of this and that." My friend became incredibly resourceful, and to this day is perhaps one of the most successful businessmen I know anywhere in the world. The difference was really quite simple. He wasn't a Superman. He wasn't different to the rest of us. He was, however, an individual who realized where his priorities were and how he needed to leverage all his talents to protect his life and to forward his life. And year on year, the results became quite apparent. He's massively successful. There was another thing that came out, was that while those of us who felt entitled felt as if the world owed us a living, that the world needed to part, a bit like that rivers, that sea story where there's a parting of the waters and you blithely walk your way through to your chosen selected objective. He understood something about human nature. He learned quite quickly that actually the better you treat people, the more you can achieve with them. And so instead of becoming a grasping, selfish, highly egoic character, he also grew up as amazingly generous, amazingly open-handed, and amazingly considerate. Two wins purely because he was a person who lost a lot of his privileges perhaps earlier on in life. And things like your parental support in West Africa, which is where I'm from, is very, very important. It can make the difference between success or failure. So that's one thing that privilege does. And because people of African origin have not in Western society been given any of those privileges, they tend to work harder, they tend to be more focused. I'm acculturated in a competitive situation, not to try and, not to try and win by a whisker or by a photo finish, because photo finishes and whiskers usually go against people who are like us. Like us, that's not paranoia. You need to win by a substantial margin. So there is no doubt about your status and your position. The legal system, the educational system, uh, so many other systems in corporate life will attest to what I'm saying. So the second reason is that I want to create now a new normal, a normal in which we are not just seen, but we are also heard. A normal in which we are not just seen as opinion takers, but also opinion formers. And why? Because we have a rich lived experience, which, if listened to, can really benefit society. If you like, we are the people who know what life is like on the dark side of that moon and can bring it to the party so that together we all get a complete rounded picture, not only of the state of our country, but also of the state of our world. And do you know what? Traditionally, the advantage Britain had over most of the other European countries, except for the other colonial powers being France and Spain, was that Britain knew what life was like all over the world. And they were able to leverage that experience and breadth of vision to their advantage. However, that experience resided in the small number of elites who were able to cultivate this global vision. And of course, what they would tell their fellows is that you're the exalted ones. Don't worry about anything. The world is your oyster to pick and choose from. Well, the pandemic put paid to that. Just look at the way Australians, Canadians, New Zealanders, and other people of European origin have been treated by their own governments. So, the third reason is that I would like the fact that somebody like me is posting regularly, sharing my opinion, sharing my thoughts, sharing my actual lived experience. I didn't read them in a book. Uh, Nobody told me what those experiences were. I lived those experiences. They are now a part of my DNA. And so when I bring these to the party, you know that I'm making a valid contribution. Whether you accept it or not, of course, it's not mine, it's your problem. But here's the thing, I want those of the generations that follow me, and not just those that follow me, I want those of my generation also now to step up to the plate and bat and buck these stereotypes of being seen and not heard, and buck the stereotype of uh, of having to listen to everybody else's opinion, but not participate by sharing your own. And hopefully change the opinion and mindset of the public who actually aren't used to having to listen to a person who looks like me or comes from my kind of background, no matter what I sound like. Um, this is the new world. This is the new world that we are going to create. This is the new normal that I would like to see, when we have dealt with the scourge of these regressives who simply want to crush humanity underfoot, transhumanize them, take away their rights so that we own nothing and apparently become happy while they own the world and use us like chattels. Please ponder this carefully. That is why I post, and I'd like more and more of you all, doesn't matter where you come from, to step up to the plate also and bat, because there are squillions of us and very few of them. Thanks for listening.